Okay, Joe, let's see how you've done on this one. That's correct. That's correct. 2 marks. That's correct. 1 mark. 102 and 28. Good. That's excellent. 2 marks. 7 for the page. Well done. Now then, this has no lines of symmetry. What you've drawn there is a parallelogram, and it hasn't got any lines of symmetry. So you haven't named it, and it's not correct anyway. And similarly with this, because you haven't told me what type of triangle it is, and it's not immediately clear from there whether it's equilateral with all sides the same length, in which case it would be wrong, because you would have 3 lines of symmetry, or an isosceles, which it should be with 2 equal sides, and then it would have 1 line of symmetry. So there's not you're not giving me enough information there to give you any marks, I'm afraid. For this one, I can see that you've misunderstood the question there. What they want you to do is just to write down those 4 numbers in a way that will make the smallest 4-digit number as possible. So you've overcomplicated things, and then you've lost track. So for example, the smallest 4-digit number that you could make with that would have the largest number in the units column, so it would be 8, then the next biggest in the tens column, the next biggest in the hundreds column, and the smallest one in the thousands column. So 2, 5, 7, 8 is what they were looking for there, and then a similar idea for that. This is correct, and so is that. You haven't read the question carefully enough. You've just picked up £20 note, but there are in fact 2 of them, so you're working with £40, not £20. You've worked out how many can be bought for £20. Okay, so you've missed that 2 there. So you get 1 mark, but you won't get both. The volume of a kettle isn't 100 millilitres. Okay, a can of Coke is 300 millilitres, 330. So that's less than a can of Coke. What you're looking for is that. That one is correct. That isn't. That's much further than London to Paris. Although they're in different countries, they're quite close together. That is what you're looking for there, and what you're looking for, the area of this page, would be that, because what you've got, when you think about it, this is about 30 centimeters, okay, the length of a ruler, and this side is 20 centimeters. 30 times 20 is 600. So only one of those is right, I'm afraid. So total for that page, 4 marks. Okay, 1 out of 50, well done. Harry is correct because it is 2 in 50 chance to get 16 and 1 in 50 chance. That's good, well done. 48 is correct, 6 is correct, 78 and 23 is not correct. Where have you got your 23 from there? I can't see from your graph what you've done. The 78-bit would be right for the girls, but the boys are a lot bigger than that, so whatever method you've used isn't right, I'm afraid. So you got 1 mark, 1 mark, no marks. It's fallen, because altogether, yeah, that's right. For your figures, that's correct. So you get that explanation. 6 marks for the page. Question 7, 27 and 57 is correct. Have a look at my solution for that. You should be able to do that fairly easily. 7H is correct. Now, this is a very common mistake that you've made here. In algebra, that 5 and that A are joined by a times. There's no symbol there, is a multiply. And similarly with the 3 and the B. So that doesn't become 56 add 34. It becomes 5 times 6 add 3 times 4, which is 30 add 12 which is 42. Okay, so that's a really common mistake that you got to get out, and make sure you don't make that mistake again. 40 is correct. So what you're doing is you are multiplying each x coordinate by 4. So if that's a, that will be 4 times a, or 4a, not just 4. So you got 1 mark for that one, but you haven't got the algebra mark. This, you've got the units correct, but you've got 24 wrong. The easiest way to do, because you can't see what's buried in there, but you know that they're all the same as the first one. So if you count the cubes in what you can see, which is 7, and then multiply that by the 3 layers to get 21. So you get no mark for the volume, the number of cubes, but you've actually got the correct units, so you'll get a mark for that. You need to get a protractor if you haven't got one, or borrow one off me. You should have. What you need to do with that is put the center of the protractor at the point where the 2 lines meet, line the 0 up with one of the lines. Decide first of all whether that angle is bigger than 90 or smaller than 90. It's smaller than 90. And then count up, so you're going 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, and it's 64 or 65 degrees you'll be reading with that. So for that page, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks. Again, you need to watch mine and buy yourself a protractor in order to get the marks there. 6 full crates and 13 jugs left over. Well, the 13 left over is correct, but it's actually 7 full crates. So your method is right, one of your answers is wrong, and the other one is right. Okay, it should be 7. With questions like this, you find 1/8 first of all by doing 56 divided by 8, and then timesing that by the number on top. Here you'd find 1% by dividing that by 100, 5, and then multiply by 7. Have a look at my video clip for that. 2 marks for the page. Okay, so then we're on to question 10. Um, 40 miles? No. If you look between 9 and 10, he didn't start at 0, he started at 10. So the distance he's travelled in that first hour is 10, 20, 30 miles. It's not 40 minutes, it is 30 minutes, but what you need to do is be clear how many minutes each little square is. You're going 60 minutes in 10 little squares, so each little square is 60 divided by 10, which is 6. So that doesn't work out to be that. He did more miles in a less amount of time there after the first stop. And that's not right either. And what you need to do there is look at how steep the line is. There he's covered more miles in an hour than he's covered there in that period of time. So the steeper the line is, the faster the person is travelling. So you don't get that one either, and that one is also wrong because you are not counting the right number of minutes for each little square. So not great with that question. 1 hour 54 is right, well done. And if you have a look at my explanation on the video clip, that's quite a detailed, complicated thing to get your head around, but see if it makes sense to you. On that page, that is more important to understand and get right than that part there. Okay, so you need to be watching what I do for number 12 and number 13. That one is correct, that one isn't, and that one is. So 2 there. What you've got here is roughly a half times, say, 120. Well, half of 120 would be 60. So it's actually the same as the value above. 2 marks for that, 2 marks for the page. The scatter graph, it is positive. That point there is in the right place. That one isn't. That one should be further up. So you're going to get 1 mark for plotting your points. Your line of best fit doesn't have to go through 0. Okay, so you need to line it up more with the points that you've got. So you'd be looking more for that sort of line than the one that you've drawn. So you're not going to get the line of best fit. And then what you need to do is read across to 320, up to your graph and across to read off that bottom one. So only 1 mark for that question. For this question, you've done it absolutely bang on, so well done. That's 3 marks. It's the correct enlargement and it's correctly positioned for center A. With this one, you have correctly reflected, but your mirror is in the wrong place. Your mirror line is there. Okay, you've placed your mirror there. The mirror that has to be on the line x equals 1. The line x equals 1 is actually this line where the x coordinate is always 1. So the reflection should have been there. So you're going to get 1 out of 2. 1 for a correct reflection, but you put your mirror in the wrong place. So 5 marks for that page. That's bang on, well done. And then nothing else on that page. So make sure you watch the video for that. And similarly, you need to be able to get your head around some basic algebra there. Okay, so for that paper, Joe, you have got 7, 11, 17, 22, 24, 26, 28, 33, 35 out of 100. So that, for that paper, I'm afraid is a grade F. When you did the other half, which you did for homework, you got 41, which means you've got 76 out of 200 for the whole exam, which would be a grade F. Okay, and you are quite a way at the moment off a grade C. So there's still quite a bit of work to do, but hopefully when you take a look at the videos, you'll be saying, oh yeah, I should have been able to do that. I'll be able to get that right next time, and we'll see an improvement.